to what we've already given up. It's like we're pacing around the obvious. Separate lives, different stories, 2 out of 4 of us are all fed up. Well, you and I play with fire, but don't say nothing, or we're both busted. We'll get what's coming after you. No, don't say nothing, or bon voyage to rendezvous. Trade fights for better views. We both need something new. Maybe we should just tell them.
Hello, high-minded readers, and welcome to the Books and the Bees podcast. Just like bees play a crucial role in pollinating flowers and sustaining life, books pollinate minds and nurture the soul. We see the connection between the two, the delicate dance of ideas and stories that enrich our lives.
I'm Cody.
I'm Hailey.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
Hi, Hailey. How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah.
It's going.
Is it weird that we ask each other how we're doing before we record and then again after we
You know,
record?
I've been thinking about that lately. I'm like, we definitely ask each other how we're doing twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
And sometimes the answer changes.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? I mean...
Yeah.
That's what it is.
We're making it work.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes I have to, like, turn on when we, like, start the podcast, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm a pretty nonchalant person. I'm a pretty, like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we both work for, like, other jobs that take up all of our mental capacity. And so, you know, it's, you know, not that we don't love recording the podcast, but, you know, it does. It's, you know, it's different, I guess.
Yeah, it's a highlight for my day, but it definitely does not take away from the fact that I'm usually mentally exhausted by the time that we, you know, plus it's like the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
For our listeners that may not know, we record at the end of the day, so it's like, you know.
Yeah, maybe we should start recording at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, no. No. You cannot pay me enough to be awake before 6 a.m.
And we're shut down. Yeah. Plus it'd be because we're in different time zones. And so for me, would it be harder? It would be harder for me.
Yeah, because if it was...
Because I'm an hour earlier, right?
I'm Wait, so are you mountain time?
Yeah.
So I'm an hour ahead. So my 5 a.m. would be your 4 a.m.
Yes, that's right. So yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah. Again, also 4. No. It's a no for me.
Yeah. I am an early bird though. So,
really?
You know.
I'm not.
Yeah. I like to get to bed early. I like to wake up early.
Yeah, I'm a late, go to sleep late, wake up kind of early. I don't know. I wake up at like 6:30-ish every day, so
that's good. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually.
Like normal morning time, I guess.
It has been really crappy with the daylight saving time.
Yes.
I cannot wake myself up early enough.
Daylight savings is kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
rough.
Oh God, it's like jet lag. It's like the teeniest dose of jet lag, but just
that's
enough,
a good way to put it.
But just enough to affect you and make you really sleepy.
That is a really good way to put it because that's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, it's too much. I can't do it anymore. And I thought that we were done with daylight savings. I really did. I was under the impression that we were done with it. So the fact that we're still here having to deal with it, I'm like, can we please do away with daylight savings, please? I'm begging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't do it.
I would love it. Love it. Yeah.
Same here.
Well, I feel like there's something we have to talk about before we talk about what we're reading. And it's because I'm like, I feel like I'm telling Hailey that something dramatic has happened. I'm just so frustrated about the whole TikTok thing that dropped today.
Yeah, me too.
And since was it last episode that was our book talk episode or the episode before? I can't remember which.
That must have been the episode before. I think.
I think you're right. I think it was 2 episodes ago. What are we going to do without book talk? I'm going to be lost without book talk if it actually happens. Guess we can't say it's going to happen for sure, but
Yeah, if anyone's listening to this now, and I don't know when they're planning to meet with the senators, because I think, is that who's next? Because the representatives
yeah,
just made their votes today, the, what, 13th? And I don't know when.
yeah. Today's the 13th.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
that's
don't
true.
know when the
Good point.
senators are gonna, see the bill. But if you're listening to this, please, if anything, for the love of book talk, at least, I'm begging, call your senators, tell them where you're calling from, whatever senator you have, and be like, hi, please vote no to not pass this bill. There's a plethora of reasons why it's bad, but at the very least, save book talk, please.
Please, yeah. Say, have you read Akatar? That's what you should call your senators and tell them. Have you read Akatar? That's what you're going to be getting rid of
Yeah.
if you ban book talk.
Yeah. Do you want us to suffer day in, day out? Yeah. Is that what you really want from us, from the general public? Because
Yeah, they
let,
do. They
let me
do.
tell you how
That's what they
much
want.
time reading takes up out of my day. Let me tell you how much more free time I will have without book talk if they decide again to pass this stupid ass bill. And I will spend every minute of every hour calling my representatives, obviously after work if anyone's listening, within reason. And I will spend it talking to a senator and just, I will make it my mission to make your life miserable. I'll do it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, you give me the time. I'll take it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's what. Also, if you get arrested for threatening your lawmakers, we are not liable.
Yeah, don't threaten
There's
them.
nothing we could do about that. There's nothing we could do about
Do
that.
not endorse any threatening of anything.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I'm actually slightly concerned. I feel like people tell me not to be, but I'm concerned because I do actually get a lot of recommendations from Book Talk. I think I sent you, maybe I didn't, I don't remember, but there's a bookstore, I think in Canada, that is now posting their spicy rating by the closeness of this like plush hot pepper. Did I send you
You
this?
did.
And I love their videos so much, and I just cannot fathom not being able to see their videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll move, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
If anyone,
We'll become a
yeah,
Canadian
if anyone in Canada,
stream.
UK, Australia, pick one. I'll be there.
Yep.
A great roommate.
Maybe maybe you should go to the UK and I'll go to Canada. That way we're like an international,
Yes.
a duo international podcast.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
Soon we'll be an international like conglomerate of podcasts.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hell
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But seriously, like,
What a
yeah, it's not good.
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's
No,
not good. So
Yeah. I agree.
yeah, awful.
Awful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I started what we were reading last time, so I think you should start this time.
Okay, yeah. I'll start with what I'm reading. So I recently finished Lore of the Wilds by Analeigh Sbrana, and I must say it was pretty good. My one thing that I kind of not had an issue with, but just kind of for me personally, was the pacing. I don't know why, but it kept, as I was reading, it kept feeling like I was in like a D&D campaign where it was like I was like waiting for like what was going to happen next to the main character. Like it was like it would get to a point where it was like, okay, now the character is going to start doing this, and I was like, okay, cool, and then all of a sudden something would happen. You're like, damn it. It was one of those, but overall really well written, good story. I think it has a lot of potential to be a really good series, because I'm assuming that that's kind of where the author's taking it, because there was kind of a cliffhanger at the end of the book. So I'm excited to see where that takes off. As far as like the honey scale, I'd probably put it at like a beekeeper's passion, leaning into more of a hive hug. Definitely not a honeyed frenzy by any stretch of the imagination. There was maybe a couple scenes that were spicy, but not like overtly, oh my gosh, this is steamy sort of spice. Um,
Hmm.
it was just some very uh, well written cunnilingus. Uh, it was tasteful, but it was good.
It's tasteful.
Yes, and it
Yeah.
was well written, and it didn't leave me going like, "Oh my gosh, I can't read through this." But it's good, and I love the main character. I thought the main character
Hmm.
was really cool. It kind of took that like academic mind type of uh, what's the word, like path for me, at least the way that I was reading it. It was um, the main character definitely was like smart, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really liked it. And then, so once I finished that book, I started The Comeback by Lily Chu, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, my apologies, and I will um, learn how to pronounce it in the next episode or if I talk about it again. If I
It
am
sounds right.
mispronouncing it, it sounds right, but you never know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm about like 8 chapters in, I think, right now, and it is a tangible, like physical book. And it's really good. It's about the main character's a lawyer, and fun fact about me, I just love. I think my like special interest is like law and lawyer and the general, like that whole. I don't even know what to call it. My brain's like totally drawing a blank, but just like kind of the legal system in general is kind of a special interest of mine. Um, but yeah, so the fact that she's a lawyer is like really cool, and yeah, I think it's kind of a slow burn type of deal. I'm not too far into it to kind of have any real thoughts, at least, about it. I think, other than just that they've been introduced to two main characters, and it seems like it's going to be a slow burn. But I don't know. Could pick up. I'm only 8 chapters in. Um, and then I'm trying to finish a book that I might have mentioned in a couple previous episodes back. It's called The Cupcake Cottage. It's a hockey romance, like a not a forced relationship, but like a relationship of circumstances type of deal that's happening where the two main characters are kind of like they have to be together out of circumstance, if that makes sense. I don't know what that's called, what that
Hmm.
trope is called. But yeah, and
Who's the author for that one?
let me look real quick because it was on my iBooks
Ah.
as a free like book. Let me see, or as a free download by Jean Oram. Oh, apparently there's a bunch of other books, maybe in the series type of deal. I don't know, but it's pretty good. It's just kind of slow for me to get into it right now. Um, I've been trying to keep with it, and then I've been putting it off because I've been reading other books that I want to get through. But yeah, and it's pretty good. Um, and then last but not least,
Sounds good.
the Wolf Gone Wild um, book. I'm still reading. I really haven't made a lot of headway in it, but I'm reading like so many other books right now. So, but yeah. So, what are you reading, Cody?
So I actually finished two books that I want to talk about. The first one is one that I forgot to put into my notes, but I'm really excited to talk about it. It's called That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. And this is a romantasy by the very classic definition. It involves this girl named Cinnamon who runs a cinnamon farm, ironically, with her family. And they live in this world where there's a goddess who has banished all of the demons behind this gigantic magical gate. And every like so many years, the demons break through and they have to fight them off. And she's very much not into the adventure side of it. She wants to just continue her farm and live her quiet, happy life in her little village. But a demon ends up landing on her doorstep, who is very attractive and is very interested in her, and also trying to um, fix the system that is corrupting the demons. And I won't go into any more details than that. It is a really enjoyable book. It's pretty fast paced. It's pretty quick read. I think it's like 200 and some odd pages. Not very big. It's part of a series too. There's 3 currently. They're called the Mead Mishap series. And I think each one is there's 3 sisters, and I think each book is about one of the sisters. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't read the other 2, but really great book. It is the spiciest book I've ever read by far. I think the spiciest book before this one was A Court of Silver Flames. Is that the last ACOTAR book?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a spicy one before this one. This one is so much more spicy. It is a honey frenzy for sure. Do not read it around your children. It is like from the jump spicy. And the one complaint I had about it was, even though the spiciness was good, and that's kind of what I knew going into being the main thing of it, the fantasy part could have been just a little bit more into it, just to kind of keep the subplot going. But it was a really good book. I would definitely recommend it to the listeners. I think it'd be a very popular hive mind book, and so definitely check it out. The other book that I finished is a book that hasn't been released yet. It's called Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I got it as an ARC through NetGalley. Comes out June 11th of this year. And if you are a fan of horror movies, horror podcasts, anything in the horror like film scene, you're going to want to read this book. It was a phenomenal read. I love Paul Tremblay. It's about this movie from the 90s, like this very indie, 3 teenagers make this movie together in some abandoned school, and a bunch of stuff ends up happening, and the movie doesn't make it to actually being released, but the 3 clips of it end up on YouTube. And the one person who is still alive when everything kind of comes out becomes very famous and kind of like really popular in the indie horror scene. And the book kind of goes between his current timeline and the timeline of when they were making the movie. It was a really, really good book. I completely went through it. I think I read it in less than 24 hours. I was absolutely hooked on it. Absolutely loved it. I love Paul Tremblay's books. I'm so interested in just the way he writes things, and he's just a very smart writer. And so for anybody who's into horror out there, I'd say go check it out because it's totally worth it. And amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, great. And then I haven't really started it yet, so I'll just mention it, and I'll probably talk about it more next week. But The Partner Plot I also got by Christina Forrest. It is a sequel to Neighbor Favor. That's right. I had to remember. And it's about the sister Violet and her love story. She ends up, I think she ends up like re-meeting a high school boyfriend, and they go to Vegas together or something like that. I actually haven't even gotten into the plot yet, so that's about all I know. But the Vegas sign's on the cover of the book, so they have to do something in Vegas, and I'm really excited to read it because we both liked The Neighbor Favor.
Very good.
So Partner Plot is something I've been looking forward to since we talked about it.
Yeah, it's on my TBR. I'm hoping to get to it soon, but yeah, sounds really good.
How many books are on your TBR now? I
I
feel like I need a physical tracker.
I'm gonna look. I believe it's probably off currently because I've been like reading and that sort of thing. Let me look real quick. 27 right now.
That's pretty good.
It's quite a bit, and quite a few of them are just books that haven't even come out yet. They're just waiting to come out this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, how many are on your TBR, dare I ask?
Okay, let me see. I actually just put stuff on this morning, believe it or not. Waiting for Goodreads to load. 478.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's getting closer to 500, like every time.
It's probably going to hit 500 like within the next 3 months or so.
That's so crazy.
Because I don't know. I never read books on the TBR. I don't even know why I have a TBR because I probably just don't need, I don't even look at it. I don't even know why I have it.
Just a new TBR every year.
Yeah. Well, actually, some of these are need to, because I'm just scrolling through. And there's 3 on this first page that I've already read that needs to come off. So there's at least 3 less that I just haven't marked off. Oh, the partner plot's right there. So there you go. That's another one. Cool. Well, I think we're both reading some pretty kick-ass books right now. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Got lots of reading happening.
Yeah.
Did we want to touch on beekeeping?
Yes. I wanted to mention that we have the April read coming up, which is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. We mention it every week, but I'm very excited for it. I think I mentioned that I've read the first chapter and I'm actually kind of itching to jump into it, but I promised myself I wouldn't start early because I'll probably forget everything that happens in the book by the time we talk about it on the podcast. So haven't read it yet, but I heard good things about it. So I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited to continue the series too.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. It's calling me, just sitting on my shelf, looking at me every day.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention, but I forgot to put it in the notes too. I'm obviously just terrible.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
But I thought it'd be fun to talk about if I can find it. So for the very first time, and we're actually going to cover this today. So our topic is going to be our book, like what do we call it? Book apps, book tech?
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. But Hailey and I both use different electronic resources to read books, and we thought it would be fun to talk about the apps / tech that we use. And one of them is Libby, which I use literally every day of my life. And it's basically the library's version of an online like ebook store. And this first year was they had an award for the Libby.
Oh, wow.
And they called it the Libby's. And I was going to mention it because they had a romantasy section and a romance section.
Oh, that's cool.
So under the best fantasy, I'll start with that one because it has a book that we both know. So A Day of Fall Night by Samantha Shannon. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros is in fantasy. Yes. That's a book. We read it. It's a good, I liked Fourth Wing, so I can't bash it too much. Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, which we had on our 2024 releases. To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monoquill Blackgoose, and Witch King by Martha Wells.
Oh, wow.
Does it say who won?
That's funny because I've been wanting to read the Hellbent and Witch King. They're both on my TBR.
Yeah, I love Martha Wells. Her Murderbot Diaries is a fantastic series. I love that series. Really good. And Hellbent, I think I read one book by Leigh Bardugo, but I haven't read. I think this is a series too. I could be wrong, but that's supposed to be really good. Romantasy has Encyclopedia Fairies, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia Fairies by Heather Fawcett, which I've read. It's really good. Recommend it. Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros.
I'm making a face for our listener. I have thoughts about that one, but I won't disclose.
See, I don't know why Iron Flame is in Romantasy and Fourth Wing is in fantasy. That to me seems like a cheat.
That does seem like a cheat to me. Yeah, because if they're both, they can't listen. They can't both be in a category. They're the same thing.
No, they can't both be in different categories. Like what is happening? Yeah. I'll mention the other two just for it. Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall and The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzin. I hope I'm saying that right. These sound good. Yeah. I was just so surprised that Iron Flame, first of all, Iron Flame to me is the least spicy of the two books, I think. And the fact that one's in romantasy and one's in fantasy just does not jive with me at all. So
yeah, that seems really strange to me too.
Yeah,
Though the Mortal Follies, that cover, at least what I can see, it looks gorgeous.
it's
What
beautiful. It's a
what a
beautiful cover.
beautiful cover. I almost just want to buy it just so I have it, just because it's pretty.
Yeah,
Hmm.
me too. Me too. Actually, the Hurricane Wars looks really pretty too. I love the purple on it.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say that too. I mean, all of these. Listen, authors are just doing something right with covers lately. I don't know, like what
Yep.
it is, but man, it's so good.
Yeah. I was trying. So I guess the winners have been announced, but I can't see them
Huh.
on this.
I wonder. That's interesting that they don't have them just like on there.
Maybe they haven't announced them yet, and I'm wrong. There's probably somebody listening right now who's like, "Listen, you two. Obviously, the winners are these ones,
Right?
and you're both idiots for not
They're
seeing
like,
it
it's right
immediately."
there. How do you not see that? That's so funny. I just saw one of the finalists for the best young adult fiction is The Davenports, which is what a book that I read, and it was really good. So good
Oh,
for Crystal Marquis, because that's who wrote the Davenports. Good for her. It's awesome.
yay! Oh, here we go. I
Hmm.
got it. Okay, let's see. Oh, did we mention the romance ones? Just the
I don't
straight
think
romance?
so.
Have you read any of these? I
I
have not
don't.
either, or I haven't.
No, I haven't read any of those.
Okay, so we have Anna Maria and the Fox by Liana De La Rosa, Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon, Georgie All Along by Kate Claiborne, A Nobleman's Guide to Seducing a Scoundrel. Now, that is a book I am into right
Yeah,
now by KJ Charles. I'm going to read that for sure. And We Could Be So Good by Kat Sebastian, which also has a really nice cover. I like that cover a lot.
yeah. I was just thinking that cover looks really nice. Honestly, I might be putting these also on my TBR. I don't know.
It's growing. I'm definitely putting all of those on my
Yeah.
TBR. For romance, Georgie All Along by Clay Gayborn
Oh wow.
won. Okay, that's cool. Congratulations to Kate Claiborne. Fantasy was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and Romantasy was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros.
Wow.
So 2 dubs.
And did you mention how they decided on these books
Oh,
for the
good question.
category? Yeah, I was just curious
Let's
what
see
their
if it said.
um, qualifications were, because I'm kind of curious how two of her books got on different categories. No shade to
So they
Rebecca
don't.
Yarros.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, she
Yeah,
wrote.
that's a
I
little.
mean, the top books of 2023. I mean, she was
Yeah.
killing it. So, uh, I think librarians
Okay.
choose the top books, and I wonder if it's because if it's through like
Hmm.
usage
That
through
makes
the Libby app.
sense. They're pretty
Um,
popular.
yeah, I don't know how they pick the winners.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if people like vote on them
Maybe
or
I'll
something.
Yeah, I'll look into it and see. Maybe because I didn't give this to Haley prehand, so we're doing all this off the cuff. But maybe next week I'll look into it and see if I can find more
Yeah,
information.
I'd be interested to know.
Uh, yeah, me too. But yeah, congrats to all the winners in every category.
Hmm.
There's quite a few categories, so I'm not going to go through every one. But there's some really cool categories out there, and I recommend checking them out.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll be checking through that list and probably adding to my TBR.
Whoop whoop, let's go! You're going to be at 500
I'll
before you know
never
it.
get to 500. If I do, I'll be 83.
Do you ever get to zero? Like, do you ever finish your TBR?
I don't know, because this is the first year that I've actually taken my TBR seriously. Um,
Okay.
yeah, because I mean, recently just starting back up reading and also just starting tracking my reading in general. So
Mm,
yeah, this year will
wow.
kind of be my what's the like scientific word for that, where you like have like a base. Um,
Oh, like a
yeah,
baseline.
yeah, baseline. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year will be my baseline to
Yeah.
see like what what my TBR will look like and that sort of thing, and if I'll finish it. I really would like to finish it, but who knows?
I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed if you finish it. I have never once finished a TBR.
Yeah, maybe that'll be my new goal.
Yeah, that's a great goal. Cool. Okay, so should we talk about our favorite book tech / book
Yeah,
apps?
let's get into it.
Sure. Do you want to start with your first one,
Yeah.
Hailey?
So my first book tech is, and I mentioned it before in previous episodes, but it is iBooks, Apple Books. It essentially is forced upon you by your iPhone. You must have it. It's one of the apps that you are required to have. I don't think I've ever actually tried to get rid of it, but I don't want to. But so I did list the pros. So if maybe you have an iPhone and you want to use it, I'm pretty sure it's probably pretty exclusive to like Apple products. But if you do happen to have an iPhone and you want to use your iBooks, maybe it's an app that you don't really use that often, but you want to, partake in it or whatever. The pros for me, at least, that I've found is it does have a tracker on it. It's built in. So if you are reading, finishing, starting, it tracks everything. It tracks what you've read. It tracks the progress in a book. It tracks what books you want to read. It even like stows away. So like, for instance, if I put a book on my like sample, like to read, and I want to sample a book, it'll put those in a spot for me to go back to. So yeah, it's really nice and user friendly as far as like where like I find Goodreads, the app Goodreads kind of is lacking, and where I forget and like where I have to physically go in, write down what book I'm tracking, and then like physically punch the radio button and be like, okay, which, like, am I reading it? Am I finished with it? Blah blah blah. Which, not to say that Goodreads isn't a good place to go for tracking your reads or what you want to read, but I feel like the way that Apple Books is set up, it's just really intuitive, I guess. It leaves a lot of like the guesswork and a lot of the footwork out of me as the user. But yeah, and I also like it because it does recommend books, and it doesn't just recommend like, oh, you're only reading romance, so here's romance. It recommends like by author. It recommends free reads. So like sometimes I'll have books that are free to download, and I'll free to download them, and then and I've found some really amazing books from the free to download, which is really cool because then, and it's not all the books from an author, it's usually just the first one, and then they kind of like reel you in, which is cool, but also hurts my wallet.
Yeah.
And that is the other thing, is it does like link up to so I can just auto buy them, which can be kind of a problem, but so
Yeah.
but yeah, I really enjoy it. And like I was saying, it does suggest books based on genre, author, new reads that maybe are up and coming for the year, reads for LGBTQIA plus genre types that you want to maybe read. It did one like for Black History Month. I know I mentioned that it had a Black History Month section. It probably has a Women's History Month section for March. If I went in and looked, it'd probably have a bunch of women authors that it would be like, hey, read these. So yeah, it's really cool. I enjoy it. The cons, though, that I experience, it doesn't always have titles that I'm looking for. So sometimes if I'm really excited to read a book, and I know that it's not a book that I can get tangibly, like right away, or if I can't, maybe I don't want to read it on my Kindle and I just want to have it on my phone, I will look up the book and sometimes it won't be there. Or it will be there, but it'll only be in audio format. Which, like, personally,
yeah.
I don't listen to a lot of books. I find it really hard. I'm not an audio learner or an audio retainer. If something's being told to me audibly, my brain, for whatever reason, just does not retain it at all. I'm very much a visual, kinetic type learner. But yeah, so the other thing is, it also, I've been noticing that the spicier books that I enjoy, things like Den of Vipers, that sort of thing, are a little bit harder to come by. And I don't
Mm.
know if that's just like an Apple thing or if it's just like they're too spicy. I don't know. I have no idea. And I'm not going to look into it because I really just don't care. If I really like a book and I want to read it, I'm going to figure out a way to get it. So it's no skin off my teeth. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, so that's my first tech that I enjoy.
Yeah. I don't have any experience with iBooks because I have no Apple products whatsoever. And so I've never even seen, like, if you showed me a picture of the app, I would not recognize it because I've just never seen it. So I don't know anything about iBooks or Apple Books or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, it's I didn't ask for it, but I use it.
Yeah, it's nice to have it like handy on your phone and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your first, or I guess second? Because you already kind of talked about Libby, but maybe go more into detail about Libby.
Yeah, I'll go a little bit more detail. So I chose to talk about Libby as one of my book apps because I actually do use it every day. It's primarily where I get most of my books, and it is basically any library, just about every library in the United States uses Libby for their ebook collection. And it's run by a company called Overdrive. And there used to be an app called Overdrive, and they had Overdrive and Libby, and they decided to switch fully to Libby. And so I think for every ebook that you get through most libraries is going to come through Libby. It's a great app because, for one, the books are free because they're from the library, and they're pretty easy to sync up to your library. All you have to do is you have to have a library card, and then you just type in your library card and the PIN that's associated with it, and then it goes straight connected. And then from then on, all you have to do is just go straight to Libby. And if you want to check out a book, if your library has it, you can just check it out through Libby. You don't have to go to your library's app or anything like that. You can just check it out straight through Libby. It's really nice. It also has a really good feature of, if you have multiple libraries, you can have multiple cards in Libby and sort through all the different library cards. And so I, for example, have one local library. My wife and I pay for a subscription to the Queens Public Library in New York because our library is on the smaller side and doesn't have a huge ebook collection. And then there's two other libraries that I've gotten over the years that I don't actually know where they're from, but I have them on my Libby and I can check out books from them. So I got 4 library cards that I can scroll through. And if one library doesn't have it, usually another one does. And I can find a book that way. And so most of the time I can get a book pretty easily. There's the occasional long wait. Like, I think for all of the Throne of Glass books, they're like 3-month long waits right now because Sarah J. Maas is just so popular that everybody's reading her. So that's kind of the downside. But can't fault Libby for that. There is also really nice a tag system. So you can put physical tags on a book if you want to put it into like a category. So like if it's a romance book, you can put it under a tag with a little heart or something that says romance or whatever. If it's a cookbook, you can put it under like a cooking emoji. And so if you're looking for a romance or a cookbook or some other book, you can look through your tags and see which mood you're in, which is really nice. I've definitely put a lot of my books that I really want to read right away under those tags so that I look at them more often. Libby also has a lot of audiobooks. If you're an audiobook listener, which I do listen to the occasional audiobook, not as much as I have in the past years, this year so far, but I do love a good audiobook. And so you can check out audiobooks and read them directly through Libby too, which is really nice. If you want to read an ebook through Libby, they have their own like reading platform, just like a Kindle basically, where you just open up the app and read it directly on Libby. But if you don't want to read it on Libby, it actually does connect to the top 2 e-reader brands, which are Kindle and Kobo. And so if you want to read on your Kindle, there's actually a button when you check out the book to say read on Libby or read on Kindle. And you can just have it set straight to your Kindle account and read it directly on your Kindle. For Kobo, it's a little more complicated. You have to, Kobo still uses the old Overdrive system. And so you can't like directly send it through Libby. You have to like log in to your Overdrive account on your Kobo, and then it should sync up most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't, but it works out pretty well most of the time. And I really love it. I love the library. There's a lot of cool stuff. Each library has their own, kind of like you were saying with iBooks, they have like lists for like Black History Month or Women's History Month. Each library does that through Libby too. And so there's a lot of things you can browse on there, and you can sort for different books. You can sort for books that are available now. And so it's, if you really want to read a book, you can find one really easily. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, yeah. And it sounds like a fun time to like collect library cards.
It is. Yeah. Especially like if you're I hear it in California, each like California libraries has a different system, but as long as you have a California license, you can get a free library card anywhere in California.
Oh, wow.
And so you could get like, 10 or 20 library cards to read in California if you live there.
Yeah. I think the only obviously like my hometown library it was fairly small, but I have been to the Seattle library, and that place is freaking massive. So I can only imagine how cool it'd be to have a library card with them and then go through Libby, and probably they have quite the selection, I'm sure. But that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. And my subscription to like the Queens, we pay for it every year. It's $50 for a year, but you can read as many books as you want. And so if you read like, I don't know, 5 books, it pays for itself. So
books are kind of expensive now. So like,
they are, yeah.
You're talking like $15 a pop or more. Sometimes 20, depending on the book.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah, the new Sarah J. Maas is $18 for the ebook.
The comeback was $16.99, and I think the Lore of the Wilds book, the Barnes and Noble that I went to wanted to charge me like over $20. I mean, yeah, it's hardback and it's a beautiful book, don't get me wrong, but like almost $20.
Yeah.
I want to say it was more than that though, but and they didn't even have it in the store. They had to ship it and everything. So I was like, well, heck you. I went to Target and found it, and they did have it on sale. Because Target does those like Target deals or whatever. So I got it for like $18, I think, as well. But still, like, I know authors have to get their bag, but it's crazy to see the books that I had from like 10 years ago on my shelves, and see how like what their price was, because it's printed on the book, and then to look at books now that are around the same page count, that sort of thing. It's like, dang.
And like $10 more. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. What's your second app? Or tech?
So my second tech would be Kindle Unlimited. I do have I believe I have the Kindle Paperwhite device, and my lovely husband pays for my subscription, bless him. And I don't remember how much it costs to have the Kindle Unlimited. I want to say it's around like $35 a month. I could be wrong though, so don't quote me on that.
35?
Yeah, I think it is 35.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Well, and the thing, so like, that's why I try to read more books on the Kindle. I haven't really been reading that much on the Kindle lately, just because I kind of went on like shopping sprees. But I mean, so if you read more than a few books, like 2 or 3 books, you're getting your money's worth. And most of the time, the nice thing, that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to touch on with the pros of having Kindle Unlimited, is that you do get free books, access to free books. Not every time do I get a free book, but the other thing that does kind of suck though about the Kindle Unlimited, and I'm kind of going back and forth on the pros and cons, but is that the Kindle Unlimited, at least mine, and I don't know how to fix it, so if one of the Kindle wizards knows how to fix this, let me know. But basically, you only are allowed so many titles to be stored on your Kindle at any given time if you're not paying for them. So, it kind of like if you have like 10 or 20, you know, and I think it's like up to like 19 books or something. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that number either.
Oh, wow.
But you can get quite a bit of books on there, which is nice. And like I said, I do end up reading quite a bit of books that I have to pay for. But mind you, it does go through your Amazon account. So if it's not linked to your, like, if you're not paying for it, your significant other might be paying for it. Something that I learned. I was like, whoopsie. So I sent my husband some money. I was like, I am so sorry. Did not realize that this was being taken out. But yeah, so yeah. And another good thing that I do enjoy is on the Kindle. Oh, and I forgot to mention this about the Apple books, but I do sometimes get the Apple books are discounted. They're not as expensive through the Apple bookstore paying for them than they are in like tangible books, or even on the Kindle Unlimited app. If I have to pay for a title, sometimes it's the same cost as it is to purchase IRL. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so that's kind of an interesting thing. But anyways, so the good thing about Kindle Unlimited is it does have a lot of spicy titles. It has a plethora of genres and authors, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you can like pre-order book. Like, I mean, so you know, it's pretty good. The cons is I don't use it as much as I would like to, especially currently because of all the tangible books that I do have right now to read. So I'm finding that I'm using it less, which kind of sucks when you're paying to have the unlimited service. But I mean, you know, if you're using the Kindle enough to justify paying for the unlimited service, then by all means. But if you're like me right now currently, who, you know, you're not using it as much as you would like to, it kind of does eat away at your money. So yeah, and like I said, it isn't technically unlimited. Even though they say unlimited, it's not, because you still do sometimes have to pay for books.
Good point.
Yeah,
Good point.
and not that there's anything wrong with paying for a book. Always make sure to support your authors when and if you can. You know, I don't want authors.
And your local
Yes,
bookstores.
and your local bookstores, exactly. And yeah, and the other downside is sometimes I forget to charge it. Like, I literally was on like 6% battery, and I was like, charge this now, and I was like, I don't want to, but I really want to read, so I've been charging it. But yeah, so that's kind of annoying.
Wow. Yeah. I have never gotten my e-reader below 50%, I don't think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I feel like you read a lot more than I do.
Yeah. And one, it's nice like at nighttime. Like I think I've mentioned before, I read a lot like right before bed, or even like if I can't go to sleep, I'll just read either on my phone or on my Kindle. And sometimes my Kindle will just sit next to my bed for days and not be charged. So, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Cody, what's your next app?
Yeah, so my next app is also the main app that I use in my e-reader, and it's Kobo, which I think I've talked about just really briefly, like on our first episode when we were introducing ourselves. I mentioned that I read an off-brand e-reader called Kobo, primarily because I don't love Amazon. I don't think anybody loves Amazon. And so I was trying to not support Amazon, and I bought a Kobo, and there are definitely good things I like about it, but there are some pretty significant cons too, which I'll mention as well. It's their app, which you can have on just a phone or any tablet, is pretty clunky, I would say. I guess I'm going to start with the cons because that's what I'm talking about first. App's really clunky. The books that are on there are not very often maybe the books you're looking for. So I would say they'll have pretty much the popular books are on there, but if you're looking for this, like the more indie books that
Mm.
Kindle tends to have, they're not going to be there. They do have a something like a Kindle Unlimited that is definitely not the same, because they just provides very few books compared to Kindle Unlimited, and so I don't subscribe to it. I think for Kobo it's 10 a month for it, and they have a VIP rewards program that is supposed to help you get books for free, but to get a book that you'd want to read, it's like 30,000 points or
Oh, wow.
something. And it's not very easy to accrue the points. And so the system is not super great. But it is an Amazon alternative. You can read directly from the app if you want to, which is fine. I do it when I'm traveling. Like if I'm going to work and I don't want to take my e-reader with me, I'll read on my phone just to not have to carry another device or whatever, and it's fine with that. It does sync up with your e-reader, so you can, just pick up right where you left off on your phone where you stopped with your e-reader, which is nice. But what I do actually really like about Kobo is my e-reader itself, which is called the Kobo Libra H2O, and I'm holding up to Hailey. It's a pretty nice e-reader. It has this like little edge where you can hold it
Yeah.
from, and it's kind of slanted. So it's got kind of like an ergonomic shape, and it has these little buttons on the side that are easy to click on. So I also read primarily when I'm going to bed, and so it's easy to navigate the pages. You can definitely do everything that a Kindle can as far as like changing the font or the size. All that is pretty much the same. And the Libra H2O is waterproof, which is good for me because I read in the tub a lot. I have not dropped it in the tub, but they say it's waterproof. So
Let's hope that it is.
yeah, let's hope it is, because eventually it's going to happen. I've actually read it in several pools, and in many tubs. So it's been doing well for me, and I do like it a lot. It does. If you buy books directly from Kobo, it syncs really well, and it's no problem. From the library, I've had a problem. Maybe one out of every like 30 books, it's been an issue. And if you try to download books as an EPUB, which is really complicated to do, the Kobo tends to not like it because they think you stole the product, and you have to like circumnavigate. It's like you have to give it like authorization or something. And I've always struggled with that part of it, so I've never really been able to do it. But overall, it's fine. I think it's, it doesn't compare to the Kindle in a lot of ways because Kindle just syncs up so well with so many different things. Kindle syncs up with Goodreads really well, and Kobo doesn't. So it's at a disadvantage because Amazon just has a huge monopoly in the book industry. But it's fine. I like it. I love the Kobo itself, the actual e-reader, and there's a lot of other e-readers that they have that are really good too that I've heard about. And so, if you really don't want to get Amazon products, I think the Kobo e-reader would be a good alternative. So yeah, and I've become a strict e-reader solely because of the Kobo. Wow. So, can't complain about that.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that I don't like about my e-reader is that like it's just one like flat square, so I had to get a case in order to like hold, because our listeners don't really know this, but I have very small hands. I'm a short person. I'm a very small person. So anything that's bigger than like a regular size iPhone, it really like is taxing on my hands. As far as like my premature arthritis that I have going on. So, yeah, getting like a good case for my e-reader was pertinent. I could not, and it even has a kickstand, which is really nice.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So yeah, that is a drawback about the Kindle is it's really, it's kind of clunky, honestly. I mean,
yeah,
all shade Amazon, truly. I mean, I don't care. It's clunky, and they need to make a better, more ergonomic, hand-friendly device. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They do. Amazon, are you listening to this right now? Please
get on it.
One, be an ad for us, and two, make better,
first of all,
better
please be an ad for us to give us revenue.
As we're bashing your products, I mean, we're not bashing.
Yeah, listen, real respect's real, okay?
Yeah, that's true. Real respect's real. That's true. yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. I think the Kindle syncing up with stuff is just so nice. And like my wife has the same Kindle you do, I think, and it just syncs up really well. She has Kindle Unlimited as well. I don't know anything about it, but she really likes it. And like the highlights that you save go to your Goodreads and stuff, I guess, which I didn't know about until like a week ago.
Yeah, and other people, you can see other people's highlights. So like if so many people highlight, and I
Oh,
don't know what like the threshold is on how many people need to highlight it to become like a highlight in a book, but when I'm reading I'm trying to remember the one that had a lot. I think it was one of the Emily McIntyre books that I've read, but it had a bunch of highlights, and you could click on it, and people, you could like, it said like 500 people or 200 people or whatever have highlighted this quote or this section or what. It's kind of cool.
wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Hmm.
amazing. Damn, I didn't know about
Yeah,
that.
it's interesting.
It's a world we live
Hmm.
in. Well, Haley, is there anything you want to mention? Any other book talks or book talks, book texts or book apps you want to mention, or any other book features?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, anyways.
I
Yeah,
can't
those
think of
are
anything either.
those are the main ones that I use, anyways. I don't think I use any other book stuff.
Do you
Um,
use Goodreads? I
mhm.
meant to ask that earlier and I forgot. Do you like Goodreads?
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that I like it because I really don't use it in all its modalities, but I do use it, and I enjoy having a place that I can go to and search books and look at reviews and keep track of my TBR and also doing the reading challenge. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
mhm.
true. I I have a few. I listen to a few other book podcasts, and one of them has
Mhm.
a group on Goodreads
Mm.
that has like discussion boards and stuff, which is really nice. But if you're not on the desktop version of Goodreads, it can be really hard to navigate. Like I was on the app this morning on my phone, and it's like really hard to like
Mhm.
work on the app. And I thought this is where most people are probably looking at Goodreads. I don't know why the app isn't any better than it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's giving very like 2013, 2012, like
Yes.
Tumblr.
Yeah, like oh yeah, that's a very good description. Like
Yeah,
super old school app tech right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
They could definitely step up their game. Goodreads, please sponsor us.
Come on, Goodreads. let us help you make your app better,
Yeah,
please.
we have ideas.
Yeah, we have ideas. Yeah. First of all, get rid of the beige. I am sick of looking at the beige
Yes.
page. Like it's so boring. I'm on Goodreads right now staring at the page and it's like just bland.
Is it also beige on the website too?
It is,
Oh,
yeah.
come on. A
Yeah.
little bit of color.
Yeah. Come on. Make it pop just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a
A
little bit.
green, a pink, a
Yeah.
blue,
Yeah, anything. Anything would be better than this, I don't know,
purple.
latte colored crap
Yeah.
that you
Yeah,
have.
that I do notice that on my app, and I do not like the brown, and I wish I could change it because I'm not a beige girly. I'm really not. I'm a
Yeah.
colorful pastel girly. Give me the
Yeah.
option to change it
I
now.
like reading on this like color. If I'm reading on my phone, that's the color that it's set to. Maybe that's why they do it, but it just doesn't translate well into a website for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks for listening about our book tech. If you have book tech that you want to share with us, please let us know. We,
Yeah.
as always, have an email. It's booksandbeespod@gmail.com. Our Instagram is at booksandthebeespod. They're in the show notes. Everything we mentioned today is in the show notes, so go check them out there. All the random books we mentioned for the Libbies, I'm going to put in the show notes. I'm going to hate myself when I'm looking at the notes later. Like, damn it, why did we mention all these books? And now I've got to put them in the stupid show notes, but it's worth it.
Worth.
It's worth. And give us a review if you haven't already on your podcast app of choice. I am still waiting on the endless hell that is Apple Podcasts. Whatever their customer service people would do, it does not respond to emails. So
Gosh.
hopefully soon they'll get back to us. So I apologize for all of those who really want to listen on Apple Podcasts but can't yet. Thanks for hanging with us on whatever app
Mhm.
you're listening. And thank you to the American Indie for the use of their song Rendezvous. They are a great band. You should go check them out. And their link is also in the show notes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anything else you want to mention, Hailey, before we wrap up?
Nope, that's
Okay.
nope. I don't got anything.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this literary journey as much as we did. If you're buzzing with excitement, don't forget to subscribe, email us, and leave a high five-worthy review on your podcast listening app. Until next time, happy reading, and may your shelves be filled with tales as enchanting as a blooming garden. Keep the buzz alive, and we'll catch you in the next chapter. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.